Last night, many were surprised to see the outcome of the LSU USC game. USC surges back for a 27-20 victory over the LSU Tigers. And of course, all we're talking about after this is Brian Kelly, who is caught after the game in a press conference, banging the table, talking about how his team cannot finish. And look, I'm going to say this on Rufino and Joshua later, and I'm sure that the discourse is not going to be as friendly as the one that we're going to have right now between me and Blake. This is something that, as a Notre Dame fan, I'm used to. And this is a warning that has come to LSU fans from the Notre Dame side when he was hired and over the past couple of years. Brian Kelly does not finish in big games. He will get you 3/4 of the way there. He is going to get you a really damn good football team that's going to be 10-2, 9-3 every single year. And they're going to go 10-2 this year. Their schedule is extremely winnable. We talked about this in the preview. They have an extremely winnable schedule. I don't know if they make the playoff. They might have boxed themselves out of it because of having to play in the SEC and having to basically go pretty much unscathed to have a good enough of a resume and a record to secure and lock in a spot. Maybe they're the 12th team in after the G5 team. Maybe that's the direction that this goes in. But Sean, I'm not shocked, man. Like, I don't know why. I was hoping that LSU would win because it made the most sense in the matchup, and I put money down on them. But I don't know why I let myself believe that Brian Kelly in a different destination was going to change things. Brian Kelly, this time though, he doesn't have Notre Dame to blame for his lack of results. He can't blame where he's at right now for his inability to get past the 90% of success that he's always done. I don't know if they're ever going to reach really that national championship caliber like many would have hoped. He's recruiting at that level for the next two classes, but here we are again, unbelievably underwhelming.
You know who he can blame, Joe? His quarterback. In his
you gonna be that guy?
Am I that guy? Saying that Miller Moss outplayed Garrett Nussmeier. That's a little strong. Miller Moss.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. I think they both played equally as good. I think one guy flashed a little more juice, which was Garrett Nussmeier, and I think that Miller Moss was a little bit more pinpoint accurate when he needed to be. They played serviceably both pretty good.
From a Rube standpoint, I would say Miller Moss outplayed Nussmeier, but it's not
the Rubes were.
It's not the head coach's job to point that out in the post-game press conference. What a ridiculous meltdown! You just should never do that.
About that.
I don't mind him. I don't mind if you want to punch the table. Punch the table. Don't look like a goofball doing it, and don't lose to USC in a crucial game, week one. Again, I respect you for setting up a entertaining week one matchup, playing in front of the nation on a Sunday night. I love that. I love that both teams had the balls to do it. Someone had to win that game. But goodness, over the last couple years, this is an LSU team that just doesn't win that game, and it seems to continue. They can't do it. They are a team that can't do it. Do Notre Dame fans feel a little bit foolish after the instant reaction to Brian Kelly leaving for LSU, or is there still some hurt because he chose to do this?
No. Okay, so I don't think you understand the feelings that Notre Dame fans had in the outcome of that. It wasn't oh my God, we lost our coach, we're screwed. It was the guy who couldn't get over the hump left us, and now we can move on and find somebody better. That was the sentiment. It's like if you're in a relationship with somebody and the whole time you're kind of just thinking to yourself, I could probably do better. Mm-hmm. Do I think I could? And then suddenly they break up with you because they met somebody at work, and you're like, oh, okay, let's go test around and see what else is out there.
You're sitting here, oh, that was easier than I thought it was.
Yeah, that was, like, I didn't have to break up with this person. They're gone. They're just out the door. That's what the sentiment was for Notre Dame fans, and it is a little bit of, there is definitely salt for Notre Dame fans. Notre Dame fans is hoping that Brian Kelly doesn't ever win a national championship at LSU. I'm not in that camp. I like good football programs to be good, but the real hater Notre Dame fans look at it as, we're glad he's gone, we hope he never succeeds, and we can't wait till LSU fans realize what you signed up for. That's what the sentiment is. That's what it is on Twitter. That's how all of the Notre Dame fans that I see on Twitter talk. I don't think that they're necessarily scorned by this, or to what you're asking, are they upset and do they feel silly after the outcome of it? No, they feel completely justified.
They're vindicated?
completely vindicated because everything that they said towards the end of Brian Kelly and then his transition is coming to fruition.
We're sitting here, slams fist again, talking about the same things. I actually thought LSU looked different in week one. The defensively they looked
did
way better. I like that the attitude in which they were running the ball. There were some things about this LSU team that I really enjoyed seeing, and they made great strides, it looks like, in the offseason and just generally in coaching. So I can understand the frustration. It's not really the same things you're talking about. You're talking about you winning the big game. That's I think what the outrage is stemming from. Because unfortunately, on the flip side, USC came out and did a lot of the same things LSU did in the offseason. I mean, the D'Anton Lynn hire through week one is already paying dividends.
Yeah.
I mean, goodness. That is a USC defense I haven't seen since Clay Matthews was there, rolling around in the linebacking position. They flew around, and then the USC offense. Maybe I'm a jackass, but I'll be watching Miller Moss much closer this season. He was impressive at times with his gutsiness throwing that football. So they ran into I don't know what you could expect from USC. You probably didn't expect him to be that stout on defense and to actually want to tackle. But make an adjustment, I guess.
Well, and I think that a lot of people didn't, and I tweeted this out, you don't expect coming into the game that either of those teams were going to stand up and stop the opposing offenses as easily as they did. And I don't know if that we chalk that up to new quarterbacks, new system, or not new system, but just like newness to the situations on offense that they weren't operating as effectively as they could that made the defenses look better. I'm not going to go that far because I saw Blake Baker being aggressive as hell against an offensive line that they thought that they could exploit, and they did. And I saw what I didn't think was going to happen in week one. I saw more effective tackling, but the more important part and why Alex Grinch's defense was a joke is not only was the scheme bad, but the approach was, let's just try to turn the damn ball over. Let's just try to do what we can to get the ball back for us, make these big splash plays on defense. And there was no effectiveness in break down, contain, don't allow yards after the catch. Tackling might not have been 100% fully where it needs to be, but there was a lot better contain after the catch. That was particularly noticeable. I'll give USC a lot of credit here. And why I'm not really all in on the Miller Moss glazing that's happening right now, I thought he played fine. What needs to be recognized is that receiver room and that offensive weaponry that USC has is freaking nuts. Yeah. Kyron Hudson's like the fourth guy down on the list that I want to talk about. Deuce Robinson had that insane play that he had where he just zoomed past the nickel corner and caught that ball on the sideline. I think he's going to have a huge year as this receiver tight end hybrid. He was recruited as a tight end. It seems like they're just deploying him as a big slot, which is going to be super dangerous. And holy shit, Zachariah Branch.
Yeah, are you kidding?
What?
Week one, just go ahead and do it to him.
Oh my God, that kid is going to cause problems in the Big Ten. Some big, bulky, slow ass that's going to be working at Enterprise in 2 years is going to see him over the middle and think, oh, I'm going to clean this kid's clock. And his ankles are going to be so broken that they're going to be 20 yards behind Zachariah Branch as he's zooming to score a touchdown.
I mean, was that the luckiest kicker tackle you've ever seen in your life? I mean, genuinely.
No, that was a great breakdown. Give my man props. Should
have been 6 though.
That was a great play by that dude. That was a hell. I give the kicker props. That's a kickoff specialist. He's a good damn tackler. Give him some love. You know, I almost thought that was like a DB that they had go kick off. Like seriously, I was like, who is this kid? Kickers don't tackle like that.
No, they do not. I was shocked at that. Branch is electric, and what I liked most about this game and why it felt like a real football game, the touchdowns were hard earned, crazy touchdowns in the end zone. The toe tap from LSU was fantastic. Everything, it didn't feel like it was just gimme ball or, okay, we're going to run it 3 times inside zone and then break through. The game-winning touchdown from USC was spectacular. Inside, up the gut, break a tackle, leave him with 6 seconds left. Ballsy call there. Everyone wants you to throw it. You didn't. It was a great top-to-bottom football game, and I'm jealous that we probably won't get another one as fun next week. Just because this one was so much fun.
Next week is going to be a lot of ranked blowouts. We already kind of talked about Brian Kelly's fallout with this. I don't think anyone's, maybe some LSU fans are, I don't think anyone's screaming that Brian Kelly's done. We're not going to go that far. But the Lincoln Riley side of this, I'll admit, I think that USC showed me enough that this is going to be a better year than I anticipated. That might even be a playoff team. but they need to be on their P's and Q's against some very stout defenses that they're going to face. Like they got Penn State coming up, they got Michigan coming up. They cannot make any mistakes defensively. And then the flip side of things, they can't allow those hard-nosed defenses overwhelm that offensive line, because LSU kind of cracked through a little bit there.
That's a good offensive line, though. Monheim moving to center is really good. He was stout. That offensive line is big as hell. Also, I know they were highlighting it pregame. They 5 behemoths lining up front, which I don't mind if you're going into the Big Ten. Beef up. Because when I'm not looking and seeing a bunch of silky pass rushers in the Big Ten, I'm seeing a lot of strong guys that can lift 325 pounds over their shoulders. So if you can have a stout front 5 like USC does currently have, I think they hold up way better than I was expecting. They have changed. They've almost gone through a little bit of puberty here from last year to this year. They're growing into the big boy bodies and playing with a big boy scheme, and I appreciate it. They are acclimating quickly to Big Ten football, as I say in week 1 before they play Wisconsin or whoever.
Colin wants to know our thoughts on the gun touchdown celebration from Kyron Lacey. Yeah, let's not do that. Like, let's not expect that you're not going to get the flag called for pulling out the gun, Selly. Yeah. I don't know what he thought was going to happen there.
If it's worth it, if you feel like that 15 yards is worth it, that's your celebration. You scored the touchdown. You had a great game. I'm not doing that early in the game. That is like a finishing move in a fighting game for me. You're not breaking out. You have to start with your combos. Work the guy down. Then when they get in the red, hit the super flashy move. But that's only when you know you're going to beat him. You didn't, though. So now it just seems like a kind of a goofy celebration for naught.